Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Kamoya. How's everyone doing? Shout out to, excuse me, shout out to Vanessa. My day's going well. How about you? Thank you for asking. Shout out to Jetta. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Grace. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Gabby. Shout out to Kyora. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Brooke. Shout out to Rachel. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Kyrie. Shout out to Iman. Shout out to Mitsuri. Shout out to Coco. Welcome everyone. Shout out to William. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Mina. Shout out to Isaac. Shout out to Gojo. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Preston. Shout out to Hammy. Shout out to Jake. Hello everyone, welcome. Shout out to Piper. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the shout outs. I live stream every day. Shout out to Christy. Shout out to Landon. Shout out to Trinity. Shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Lady. Shout out to Cian. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Tucker. Shout out to Cora. Shout out to Julie. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Eliana. Shout out to Serenity. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Nina. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Hamoud. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Hestia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Isla. Shout out to Reed. Shout out to Melania. Whoopsie, I messed up. Shout out to Melania. Shout out to Jay. Shout out to Jenny. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Silas. Shout out to Willow. Shout out to Haley. Shout out to Trinity. Shout out to Denim. Shout out to Avi. Shout out to, thank you, Victoria. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Victoria. Piper. Shout out to Victoria Piper. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Vivian. Shout out to Jessie. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How about you? Shout out to Colt. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Amir. Shout out to Morgan. Shout out to Zamaria. Shout out to Alaska. Shout out to Christopher. Shout out to Zoe. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Brittany. Shout out to Gabe. Shout out to Oliver. Shout out to Dawn. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Legacy. Shout out to Caesar. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Paulina. Shout out to Jason. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Mary Ann. Shout out to Whitney. Shout out to Darcy. I'm doing well. How about you? Thank you for asking. Shout out to Daniel. Whoopsie. Shout out to Gracie. I'm gonna put Gracie over here. Shout out to Mia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Kaya or Kaya. Sorry if I mispronounced her name. Shout out to Michelle. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Michelle White. Thank you. Shout out to Jane. Shout out to Rita. Shout out to Midenka. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Addie. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Cora. Shout out to Maple. Shout out to Oliver. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Isla. Shout out to Alina. Thank you, Alina. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Alina Olivaria. Shout out to Jazzy. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Demetris. Shout out to Zuri. Shout out to Olivia, I got you. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Elizabeth. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Thank you so much for being here. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I live stream every day. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out as well. Shout out to Alina. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Alina Olivaria. Shout out to Caroline. Shout out to John. Shout out to Kuro. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Milana. Was it Milana? Oh yeah, Milana. Shout out to Milana. Shout out to Ashlyn. Shout out to Noelle. Shout out to Zariah. Shout out to Star. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Bailey. Shout out to Kinsley. Shout out to Josiah. Shout out to Cassine. Shout out to J-Dog. Shout out to Matthias. Or Matthias, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Vivian. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Kiara. Shout out to Melania. Shout out to Sasha. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Margot. Shout out to Shamira. Shout out to Jael. Shout out to Ethel, thank you. Shout out to Aitana. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Brittany. Shout out to Wyatt. Shout out to Jocelyn. Shout out to Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Michelle White. Shout out to, is it Micah? Or Mika? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Karen Remiller. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Lita Garcia. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Karen Remiller. Shout out to Lita Garcia. Shout out to Cedra. Shout out to Catherine. Shout out to Evripidis. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Serena. Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Virginia. Happy birthday. Shout out to Aitana. Shout out to Addie Lucas. Shout out to Ziana, or Ziana. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Rylan. Shout out to Sophie. Shout out to Rama. Shout out to Antonella. Shout out to Krisha. Shout out to Jazzy. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Elodie. Shout out to Carlisle. I hope I spelled your name correctly. Oh no, I got that so wrong. Shout out to Charlize. Shout out to Cadence. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to Miracle. Shout out to Jenna. Shout out to Terry. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Rama. Shout out to Andrew. Shout out to Cody. Shout out to Creedy. Shout out to Jay Sion. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Timo. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Hasena. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Emily. I'm doing well, Emily. Thank you for asking. How about you? Shout out to Leilani. Shout out to Audrina. Shout out to Anderson. Shout out to Emmy. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Angel. Shout out to Ang. Shout out to Yvette. Shout out to Bob. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Kay. Ang, I got you. Kay, I got you. Shout out to Freya. Shout out to Adriana. Shout out to Sir Michael. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Michelle. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Michelle White. Shout out Ang, I got you. Or Ange, I got you. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Violet. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jonah. Shout out to Emmy Lou. Shout out to Zen. Shout out to these people. Thank you so much for being here. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the shout outs. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I would truly appreciate it if you like and subscribe. It would truly help me out. Thank you so much for being here. I also post other content I hope you can check it out as well. Shout out to Pedro, Mini Little. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Pedro, Mini Little. Shout out to Allegra. Shout out to Sia. Shout out to Jael. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Kareem. Shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Angelina, I got you. Shout out to Mateo. Shout out to Lydia. Shout out to Aries, thank you. Shout out to Michelle White, thank you so much, I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Lillian, Ruthie. Shout out to Camellia. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Romina. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Adriana, that fun girl. Shout out to Mariana. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Juliana. Shout out to Noah. Whoops. Shout out to Journey. Shout out to Felicity. Shout out to Ang. Shout out to Alina Olivaria. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Alina Olivaria. Shout out to Alima. Shout out to Was Gook. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Jared. Shout out to Camille. Shout out to Amari. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Melly. Shout out to Kalani. Shout out to Alice. Shout out to Trinity. Shout out to Marwa. Shout out to Andrea. Shout out to Mio. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Owen. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Harvey. Shout out to Axel. Shout out to Monica. Shout out to Melly. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Melly. The Real Melon. Shout out to Cardalia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Manuary. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Delaney. Shout out to Nyla or Neela. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Angelina. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Audrina. Shout out to Graham. Shout out to McKenna. Shout out to Amora. Shout out to Lila. Shout out to Cooper. Shout out to Uriel. Shout out to Ramsey. Shout out to Lena. Shout out to Kenzie. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Drew. Shout out to Akari. Shout out to Farida. Shout out to Keaton. Shout out to Akari. Shout out to Marley. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Zachariah. Or Zachariah, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Jocelyn. Shout out to Oliver. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to German. Shout out to Princeton. Shout out to Damelia. Shout out to Levi. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to Ali. Shout out to Arlie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Ciara. Shout out to, is it Kylia? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Delaney. Shout out to Kinsley. Shout out to Damon. Shout out to Nara. Shout out to Marie. Shout out to Natalie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Ella Lynn. Shout out to Tariq. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Melissa. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. I live stream every day. Excuse me. I live stream every day around the same time. I hope you can subscribe and support my channel. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Also, thank you for your patience. I know I'm not the fastest writer and I try to write my best, so I appreciate your patience. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Isla. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Parker. Shout out to Manolo. Shout out to Ibuki. Shout out to Jameson. Shout out to Milani. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Presley. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Penelope. Shout out to Hunter. Shout out to Giselle. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Nadia. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to Nicola. Shout out to, is it Javen? Javen. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Irlanda. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to Deleza. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Will. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Jaslyn. Shout out to Melin. Shout out to Vanessa. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to North. Shout out to Emery. Shout out to Amanda. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Malachi. Shout out to Dustin. Shout out to Axel. Shout out to Preston. Shout out to Ismaela. Shout out to Lorelai. Whoops, how do you spell Lorelai? Lorelei, sorry. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to King. Shout out to Annabella. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Kendall. Shout out to Farron. Shout out to Jamari. Thank you everyone for your patience. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Cashton Smiley. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Cashton Smiley. Shout out to Summer. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Soraya. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Betsy. Shout out to Catalina. Shout out to Seo Yun channel. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Seo Yun channel. Shout out to Joel. Shout out to Nova. Whoops. I need to write it again because I messed up. Shout out to Nova. Shout out to Penny. Shout out to Azur. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Sayumi. Shout out to Sailor. Shout out to Liara. Shout out to Donald. Shout out to Rory. Shout out to Leslie. Shout out to Lonnie, or Lainey. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Paige. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Bentley. Shout out to Maddox. Thank you for subscribing. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Zane. Shout out to Paulina. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Aaliyah. Thank you so much. Shout out to Asher. Shout out to Ryan. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to America. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Madison. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Joyce. Shout out to, is it Brock? Sorry. Shout out to Brock. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Kenley. Shout out to Micah. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Jay. Shout out to Lauren. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Elisha. Shout out to Denny. Shout out to Spencer. Shout out to Nathan. Shout out to Mila. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the shout outs. I post other content as well. I hope you can check it out. I would truly appreciate it. Shout out to Melanie. Shout out to Lana. Shout out to LeBron. Shout out to Aviana. Shout out to Clinton. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Jocelyn. Shout out to Wei. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Ava. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Graham. Shout out to Revin. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Scorpion. Whoopsie, Scorpion. Shout out to Hayden. Shout out to Leilani. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Malaya. Shout out to Janet, or Jeanette, sorry. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Chris Moore. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Hadley. Shout out to Paige. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Chris Moore. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Rosalind. Shout out to Chris Moore. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Violet. Shout out to Greta. Shout out to Lena. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Sharky. Shout out to Tucker. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Jolie. Shout out to Vidal. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Teresita. Shout out to Yareli. Shout out to Cheyenne. Shout out to Angie. Shout out to Travis. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to Sivan. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Jameson. Shout out to Abarca. Shout out to Mayi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Jayla. Shout out to Zuliana. Shout out to Francesca Ledesma. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Francesca Ledesma. Shout out to Jean. Shout out to Paola. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Brock. Shout out to Kyrie. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Bob. Shout out to Easton. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Bryce. Shout out to Xiang. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Allison. Shout out to Omara. Shout out to Calliope. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Aloni. Or Alani. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lauren. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Hadley. Shout out to Oliver. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Valentina. Shout out to Lois. Shout out to Brooke. Shout out to Kenley. Shout out to Pasta. Shout out to Talia. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Chris Moore. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Chris Moore. Thank you, Dadina, for your kind words. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Dadina. Shout out to Luciana. Shout out to Caballero. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to William. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Juanita. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Raja. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to Frank. Shout out to Jay. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Joey. Shout out to Everly. Shout out to Lola. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to these people. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Paxton. Shout out to Levi. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Madden. Shout out to Nelson. Shout out to Jeanette. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Penny. Shout out to Wolkenpolf. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lorelai. Shout out to Gracelyn. Shout out to Chase. Shout out to Epi. Shout out to Mina. Shout out to Ryder. Shout out to William. Shout out to Clara. Shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Eden. Shout out to Lady. Shout out to Tommy, or Tommy. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Kylie. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Kata. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Lila. Shout out to Summer. Shout out to Sam. Shout out to River. Shout out to McKinley. Shout out to Madeline, or Madeline. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Brito. Shout out to Cara. Shout out to Camille. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Bryce. Shout out to Janaya. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Reese. Shout out to Clark. Shout out to Morena. Shout out to, what is it? Cheyenne. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Rebecca. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to John. Shout out to Georgette Hernandez. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Georgette Hernandez. Shout out to Jonah. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to Aspen. Shout out to Zara. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Jimin. Shout out to Colin. Shout out to Bang Chan. Shout out to Madeline, or Madeline. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you for supporting me. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Tammy. Whoopsie, I messed up. Shout out to Tammy. Shout out to Raven. Shout out to Slade. Shout out to Holly. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Maria. Shout out to Mia. Thank you. Shout out to Indiana. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Karen. Shout out to Maylin. Shout out to Italy. Let's see. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Elisa. Shout out to Carly. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to Ziera. Shout out to Kashira. Shout out to Tim. Shout out to Ziva. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to what was it? Oopsie, I messed up. Shout out to Anaya. Shout out to Penny. Shout out to Ryder. Shout out to is it Bendiana? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Addie. Shout out to Katsai. Shout out to 11. Shout out to Janaya. Shout out to Bristol. Shout out to Dania. Or Dania, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to 117 Libra. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to 117 Libra. Shout out to Tsitlali. Shout out to Vianney. Thank you so much for subscribing. Shout out to Kelsey. Shout out to Elle. Shout out to Piper. Shout out to Hunter. Shout out to Zuliana. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Tylene. Shout out to Kira or Kiera. Shout out to Z. Shout out to Claire. Shout out to Morgan. Shout out to these people. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I live stream every day. I also post other content. I hope you can check out my channel and subscribe. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for taking the time to write your name. Thank you for your patience. I will see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye. Take care.